Let's talk visuals.
This video is brought to you by EpiPies Academy.
While your tribe is attending the webinar, we want them to be looking at something, and most people use a tool like PowerPoint or Google presentations, something to make essentially a slide deck that reinforces and underlines your content. My approach to this is a little bit different than most people, because I really believe that you should not have a lot of text on the slides that you're showing people. You want to use visuals that underline the points that you're trying to make. So what I want to do is talk about a few of the different types of slides that I use and why I use them. So this is typical of a title slide that I would use in the visuals, and this is just the title to the webinar. Frequently, I'll put this up before we actually get started so people have something to look at. They know they're in the right place. The title is the same as the title on the invitation, and it gives them essentially something to look at aside from, please wait while the webinar is getting started. Typically in my visuals, the second slide is a picture of me. The reason for that is if I don't have a webcam on, which I frequently won't during a webinar, I want them to see what I look like so they know who's talking. And also this gives me an opportunity to talk about my qualifications to be the person giving the webinar. So I want to immediately provide my own credentials in the webinar. So the visual for that is a picture of me. And you want to do a picture that's at least somewhat interesting. Everyone does kind of the boring headshot, and that may be appropriate if you're doing B2B webinars, business to business. But if you're trying to create a brand with some personality, use a picture that's a little bit unusual. I'm famous for the finger guns, so this is one of my finger gun pictures. My third slide generally is the goal for the webinar. So the goal for this webinar is to help people start a career in professional web or mobile development. Notice when I use text on the slides, there's a lot of empty space to draw the eye to the message that I want to use. We're using highly contrasting colors. The white on the orange is very visible. And people seeing this particular slide know immediately what they're supposed to be looking at. There is no disruption. They're going to see the slide and they're going to hear my voice, and that's all I want them to see. I don't want a lot of extraneous material on the slides. Other slides, I want to tell a story through images. So obviously these slides are telling a story of searching for a job. Where I can, I want to show pictures of websites if that's what I'm talking about, versus the website themselves, because it's cumbersome to go back and forth between your slides and a web browser. So here you can see directly, here I'm telling the story of finding a job as a web designer. Another text slide here. This is something I'll commonly do, or fill in the blank slides, where I have people writing down specifically text and I have them filling in the blank to try and visualize the solution that I'm trying to provide. But again, lots of white space in the slides. Other slides I like to use and visuals are myth and reality, or what I call opposite slides. So where we tell a common myth and then the reality of the myth. But again, visuals are extremely, extremely simple. One of the mistakes that people make is they try and make their visuals way too complicated. And really what you want them focusing on is your voice and a little bit of text. Slides are not a place to have a transcript of everything that you're saying. Please do not make that mistake. What you want your slides to do is provide a visual reference for what you're talking about. So here, for example, I'm talking about each of these specific areas as a process, so I put them each in a box. I'm not putting the details of DevOps, code versioning, etc. here. I'm just providing the high-level outline for the process. And you can see the other thing about my slides is I used consistent colors, consistent fonts, and a consistent layout throughout the entire series. That's important because you want your whole presentation to look organized. And the simpler your presentation is, the less you really need a professional graphic designer to do it. Use a single font, use 2 or 3 colors that go together, and keep it simple throughout the process. And I'll also use full screenshots. So this is screenshots from the web that, as I get into my sales pitch, are making a specific point. And that's really it. We want these to be extremely simple, easy to read, and to underline the points you're going to be making verbally during the webinar. Don't overcomplicate your slides. Don't put more on your slides than you need. So here I wanted to show a single comment on YouTube. That's all I put on the slide. Don't be afraid of white space. White space is great because it allows the eye and the person watching to see exactly what you want them to see. It's obvious in this slide, I'm going to talk about myself, and there's nothing else on it. Good luck in creating your visuals. I hope yours turn out to be clean and work for you in your webinars.